Everyone, Gavin Townsend here in my shop. The week of Body Power will be at the show later this week, just at the main entrance as soon as you walk in. This week, the BBC finally touched on a very important and sensitive subject, one which actually affects a lot of guys as much as women. Eating disorders in men. Something that, as a trainer, I've seen more and more frequently happen over the last few years. We're living in a new day and age. Let's be honest, the aesthetics era is really taking off, and there's more social media than ever. We've got over 500 different marketing methods with social media globally now. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, new things like Snapchat, things that are trending more and more so, and people are, as you can see in previous videos, people are glued to their camera phones now. And with the craze of the selfie last year, there were more photos apparently taken last year than in the history of the camera. So this is mainly down to the selfie craze, and yes, unfortunately, I am partly responsible for that. Eating disorders in men. So quite often I speak to guys who want to put muscle on or want to generally lose fat weight. And quite often or not, they're already eating. In many cases, they're eating well, eating frequently, eating healthily, and just need a few tweaks. Now, very occasionally I come across an individual who is gone and starved, and that is mainly because they are starving themselves. It's a very sensitive subject for many, but it is one which affects many guys as much as women. Unfortunately, eating disorders in men is something that takes a lot of balls, takes a lot of confidence for a guy to just point out and admit that they're struggling with such a disorder. In many cases, by starving the body, you're also starving the mind, and in many cases, eating disorders aren't necessarily physical, they're more so emotional and psychological. I do not work in psychotherapy. I'm not a trained practitioner. I must stress this. I've been a PT for over a decade, and I'm just very observant of what's happening. And it's such a shame that such a sensitive subject is being so overlooked now in the fitness industry. And like I say, there's a lot of body dysmorphia out there where guys clearly just want to put a lot of size on, but also there's a lot of guys out there who just generally want to lose body fat and just look great. But it gets to the point where, because they haven't got the education there, they haven't got the foundations, the knowledge or the guidance, in young cases, and unfortunately until it's too late, go on extreme diets or crash diet or get bulimic or go as far as just complete starvation, thinking that they're going to have this amazing figure as a result, but the reality is they're just going to damage their bodies and damage their mental health. Now, unfortunately, like I say, because of all this social media and new day and age of media, people are living a very online lifestyle. And this is the reason why I run a shop, this is the reason why I work with people on a one-to-one, and this is why I'm doing the exhibition shows and whatever else. Because I like the human interaction, something I grew up with. I've been working with people on a one-to-one level my entire life, and I see so many people who live in isolation now as a result of social media. And like I say, if all you see each and every day is what's being presented to you in front of your phone, brands are marketing what they want to sell to you. And plain and simply put, there's a lot of falsified advertising out there. There's a lot of Photoshop editing going on. You probably see this in some of my branding at the moment. I like to be honest with the customers that I'm working with. I feel it's really important that people aren't being lied to. And I find a lot of brands now especially are trying to overly hype up the products and services that they're selling with a false lifestyle. Yes, I believe in inspiration, but I have to ask, what does a supercar have in relevance to clothing? What does a fancy watch have relevance to clothing? Or to supplementation or any sort of fitness orientated product. It doesn't. And again, when people, and especially youngsters, and this is what annoys me about a lot of companies out there, I'm seeing a lot of youngsters who are in their teenage years, early 20s, guys especially, who are going to extreme measures to get that body beautiful look. Now obviously guys and women throughout the centuries have always been body conscious, but more so than ever, because that's all we see each and every day. We see on our phones how we should present ourselves each day, on TV how we should look. It's a shame to see all these newfound celebs who have excessive amounts of makeup and surgery, etc., now being the new faces and role models for youngsters, because it's not a true reflection of how we should be as humans. And unfortunately they all want to be clones of these celebs. And again, this is having a massive psychological knock-on effect. Eating disorders in men is, again, something that so many of us don't realise is happening each and every day. So many youngsters are going to extreme measures. They're resorting to all types of supplementation before identifying with nutrition. They tend to do it by themselves without educational support. And it's a shame to hear that on the news, especially yesterday, that many cases only come to fruition when it's too late, to some extremes when people die. And it's a serious matter. So if you do struggle yourself with bulimia or eating disorders, if you know anyone who does also, and you're a bit concerned for them, best advice I can give is go to the GP and ask for where the nearest help centre is, or go and speak to someone who works for nutrition or works actively with people each and every day. And like I say, it's a very sensitive subject for so many, so this is why I'm trying to be a bit light-hearted with it and not be my crazy normal self. And it's a serious matter, and if you're in the fitness industry, if you're actively working with people each and every day, try and ensure that people get the core fundamentals right. So nutrition, a balance with lifestyle and exercise, and just talk about the extremities that advertising is now being in advertising to sell products. So Photoshop, lighting, filters, the likes of makeup. I've heard of extreme measures where abs are being stenciled in. By being so open about these subjects with people, it's really helped people to wake up to a lot of these. And I'm doing my marketing in a different way now. It's great because, like I say, it has a positive impact on people's mental attitudes, and it opens their eyes a little bit more as well, which I feel is really important. And as a company owner, I feel that I've got an obligation to be transparent in my advertising, and also be quite open with how things are being presented now, because I've got a social responsibility, guys. At the end of the day, I'm looking at the industry from a long-term perspective, and being in the fitness game, we're trying to help people get fit and healthy, whereas unfortunately it's having a very bad negative effect on many people's mindsets. And mental health is something which isn't being addressed so much in the world.